What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Cutlass Board Games channel, and we are looking at the login screen for the Button and Clocktower online client because today's a little bit of a hot take video day. Now, the previous update to this one, and you'll see it might be alluded to in the patch notes, but the previous update released some of the internal data tracking that the Button and Clocktower app does. Now, we've known for a very long time that the Button and Clocktower team tracks a lot of different statistics. From the very, very beginning, a lot of this was done manually, and a lot of it was done mostly like which team's winning, good or evil, and then like maybe some specific characters, like if it was particularly a mayor win, they might pay more attention to that, with the intention of helping develop the game towards game balance. Now, in the last update, they gave you the ability to see your personal win rate, and I'm going to reveal mine in a minute. I won't actually be able to show it in the app, but we will get to look at some cool stats though. My personal win rate, and I want to talk about what looking at your own win rate looks like, because we have a group chat where we organize all of our games. The people that you see me playing with, posting in the group chat, shit posting about different stuff that happens, and the win rate was obviously a very exciting one to talk about, where most of the players in the group chat boasted somewhere between 50 and 60% win rate, which is not ridiculous, right? I think that's kind of standard for this kind of thing. Now, there's some implicit problems with this. I think that there is an inherent tracking problem, because one of the things that I realize I don't do when I'm walking through the Grimoire reveal is very rarely do I actually click the game result button that tells you which team wins. I would rather say that and walk through the results of the game and talk about the players and what happened and build up to an actual reveal rather than showing the game results. Often I don't use that feature, and it's my hunch that this feature is how they track which team wins, and then which team you're assigned to is then counted as a win or a loss for you. Now, because I don't use that feature, does that mean that every game that I've run, all of the players have lost because the game result didn't end with their team winning? Or how exactly was this data handled? I don't know, because it's not really transparent. But also, Blood on the Clocktower is not a game where I feel like you should be so focused on whether you're winning or losing. Some of the best stories that I have about playing Clocktower is like throws and big losers and trying something cool and new and it failing spectacularly. So I feel like the actual winning and losing percentage rate is kind of detrimental to the mindset that it comes with playing Clocktower. Now, here's the big reveal. My games won percentage was actually 38.75. Now, I think part of that is because I play with a group that has not been playing the game for as long as I do, and I can be targeted because of that knowledge that they have. And a lot of them are kind of also aware that I'm recording stuff for YouTube, and it's funnier if I'm being bullied and I'm big reaction and all this kind of stuff. But it's like a very, very low amount. And I also don't know exactly how it would specifically calculate with the games story told, because it was basically like games played, games story told, games won. And now what the new patch note says is they've removed games won, which I think is fine. But does game story told count for games played? Because then I've run a lot of games. I obviously can't win or lose if I'm the storyteller. I fucking hope I shouldn't be winning or losing if I'm storytelling. Then my win rate would be different because all my storytelling games would be removed from that. And this is really not transparent. I think people going and calculating the win percentage is a bit goofy of a thing, but I think it is cool that we're getting more features like this and stat tracking and stuff like that, because I like knowing how many games I've played and how many games I've story told and stuff like that. I think that does have value. But now what we newly have with the latest version is top 3 most played editions and top 3 most pulled characters, which is what we're going to find out for me right now. I'm just going to load into a local game. We're going to go to settings, user, statistics are being generated, check back later. Well then, that's slightly disappointing, isn't it? I can imagine I might get a demon as some of my top 3 kind of played. But the main thing was that I wanted to create a video where we talk about the win rate and the win rate mindset, right? I'm also a TCG player. Currently, I'm playing a lot of the Pokemon TCG, and I historically played a great amount of Magic the Gathering. Sometimes I dabble, it's very hard to quit the habit. But in that TCG mindset, and especially with the Pokemon TCG, where I go, my locals, it's very, very competitive. People are like caring about their not win-loss percentages, because that's a lot harder to track. But you get certain points for winning, and if you get like a really large amount of points, you can go and to the bigger events like Worlds and stuff like that. This is not an architecture that exists for Blood on the Clocktower. You can't go and play competitive Blood on the Clocktower. We have a win-loss rate, but I think just the winning strategy is just to be cunty the entire time. And I think that's against the spirit of the game. And then even if you did have this obscene win rate where you were just able to read everybody's mind and know exactly, see the grimoire from a security camera across the room or whatever and solve every game, is that fun? Are you really engaging with the mechanics? Are you really doing it? And there's no way that they're ever going to have a competitive, world-ranked Blood on the Clocktower game event, because I think that goes against the purpose of what makes Clocktower fun. And so that's kind of what I wanted to come on here and talk. I was hoping that I could show off these statistics, but maybe it's a bit soon because the update did just launch and it's time to go and check the statistics. And I think that the general sentiment of knowing what the purpose is for why you're playing games, and then how your mentality towards that is tracked, I think makes sense. I think is kind of important, because taking something like this way too seriously, you're probably going to be playing the game using play styles that are not going to be fun for other players, or going to be detrimental to the game state at large. And if the storyteller has to be spending all this time managing you personally, they're not focusing on making a balanced game, and it's kind of goes against the whole fun factor that it's Clocktower, where you can sow chaos and do all these crazy things, but you're in kind of a controlled environment, and everyone kind of agrees to the social contract of how they're supposed to treat each other, and sportsmanship and these kinds of things. So that's kind of all I wanted to say. So maybe when I do finally get the statistics, you'll see one of my, just Clocktower playthroughs while I mention it. So maybe just check some of those out. In fact, I'll put a playlist up on the screen. We can go and see all the Clocktower content that I do and, see what's coming up next. And then, I don't know, that's kind of it. I was hoping to have more to show off, but unfortunately, it's not ready yet. So you'll have to stick around and see what comes next.